So here's a video of how I make my book page tumblers with Crystalac products. First step for tumblers is always prep, so sanding it really good, sanding that protective coating off of it. So sand it and wash it. Then you need a base coat. So I'm using one of the Crystalac Flippin' Awesome paints here, one of their greens. It's really pretty. It's normal for that first coat to be streaky. You don't want to put too much product or you're going to have issues down the line. You will just wait 4 hours and go in with a second coat. Let that dry 4 hours, then go in with the second coat of the paint. And now make sure it's all even and smooth, and then let that dry 4 hours before proceeding with anything else. So set that aside for 4 hours to dry, then work on the book pages. So just gently burn the pages. Don't burn too much or the words won't be visible that you want there anymore. And then just brush off some of that soot, otherwise the cup will get dirty. Ask me how I know. So just burn the pages that you want, make sure the words are still visible as you prefer them to be, and take off that excess soot so it doesn't make the cup look dingy and dirty. Then for applying the pages, I'm using the Crystalac glitter glue. So put down a base on the cup itself and then just position it. As you put the pages, just think about if you're going to use glitter, which parts of the books you're okay covering. So those are all things to think about. So I always have like pages where I'm like, I'm not super tied to it. So those I'm willing to cover because they're going to be overlaps. The pages that I want to be most visible, so in this case the Sorting Hat song, the special parts about like Slytherin, I keep those on the side and I place those last because I want them to be on top so they're not covered. So just keep that in mind for the final look that you're going for. By the way, you see that I'm wearing gloves as I do this part, and that's because the Crystalac glitter glue is very strong in terms of its adhesive power. So it's a really good glue to use for stuff like this and fabric tumblers, but it also means that it is a pain in the butt to remove from your bare fingers. So just keep that in mind and save yourself, save your sanity, wear gloves, much easier. So just keep placing all the pages until the tumbler is pretty much all covered. You may have some spots of color peeking through here and there, which is why I like to use a coordinating color as my base coat. And place all your pages, make sure everything's flat, nothing is peeking up, and then let that dry 2 hours, and then do a coat of glitter glue over the whole tumbler covering all the pages. Let that dry 2 hours, then do one more coat. I like to do about 2 to 3 coats to make sure my pages are sealed. After adding those 2 to 3 coats, you will then be ready to move on to bright tone. So here's a shot of what it looks like with the glitter glue sealing. And so now you can move on to about 3 or 4 coats of bright tone. After those coats of bright tone, I decided to add my glitter. For the bottom glitter, I am doing a Hogwarts Castle stencil. And so I used I used contact paper actually. You could also just use removable vinyl. I used contact paper that I cut to be my stencil. So I'm using the glitter glue here with a damp foam brush. So brush that on, and then I will put on my green glitter at the bottom. For this green glitter, I only needed the 1 coat. So that worked out well, and then you need to let that dry 2 hours before you remove the stencil. For the top little silver band, I used double-sided tape. That way I could have a cleaner line. So I'm using double-sided tape to apply the silver glitter. Then this one was pretty sheer, so I did go in with a second coat of that glitter. So first coat I did with the double-sided tape, then when I needed to add a second coat, I just used the glitter glue. So once the glitter is to your liking, seal that with the glitter glue and proceed with your layers of bright tone, making sure to sand over the glittered areas every 3 to 4 layers. Sand, clean it off, then continue layers of bright tone until it is smooth. And you want to make sure the areas that you put your decal on will be completely smooth. And so here's what that looks like with bright tone over the glitters. Moving on to the decals, for the name I used a permanent vinyl, and for the Slytherin house crest I used a waterproof printable vinyl. And it is important that it be waterproof, so I'm not sealing it with anything in this case. I didn't spray paint it or anything like that. I've tried this brand before and I know that it doesn't run. Bright Tone is water-based, and so that's why you'd want to be careful. So I know that this waterproof one works well for me, and I've used it on lots of cups. If yours is not waterproof, then you would want to seal it with clear spray paint in order to prevent it running. After decals, continue with bright tone layers every 4 hours until it's all smooth with that nice perfect glass-like finish. This is definitely an involved process, but it's worth it for the final results.
So, where shall I put you? You're difficult. Very difficult. You're cunning. Yes, and a nice thirst to prove yourself. It's all here in your head. Better be Slytherin!